for Robert. Game design, Bethesda Game Studios. Directed by Todd Howard. Didn't even get nominated for Game of the Year. Like I said, I mean, this was okay. It was okay. I don't know what I would really give it. 1.5 stars, maybe 1.5 thumbs. Maybe not even 1.5. Maybe more like 1 to 1.25. Like it just seemed like it had a lot of downtime and like a lot of the stuff trying to figure out, like how to upgrade your ship and everything like that. It just didn't like. I don't know. Like I don't like games. I'm trying to figure out what I'm trying to say here, because I like games that like let you explore how to play the game, but also like there was a lot of stuff that just didn't make any sense, and maybe it's because I was kind of bored with it playing through it, so I didn't really bother to take the time to learn it. That's probably most likely what it is. But like I don't necessarily think you should give that a pass. Like if the game isn't good enough to want to understand how to play it, then it's just not a very good game in my opinion. And like I was saying this earlier, it had this come out last year, or maybe a couple of years ago, like when the pandemic was going on and there was just like nothing out. Maybe this would have been a lot better game, and it would have been something that I would want to put a bunch of hours into. But the truth is, there's just so much good out there that it just didn't really stand a chance in my opinion. You've got, again, starting from the top, Hogwarts Legacy, Dead Space Remake, Resident Evil 4 Remake, Final Fantasy 16, Tears of the Kingdom, Spider-Man 2, Super Mario Wonder, which I never played, but that was nominated for Best Game. Super Mario RPG Remake was phenomenal. Like there's just so much that I can't even like remember how much all of it is out there. There's just like so many good games that came out this year, and this just really wasn't good enough to compete. Like. And a lot of it is the downtime. And the downtime is the part where you're supposed to try and figure out how to play the game. But it was, the rest of the game wasn't good enough for me to want to figure out how to do the game. Like I just keep going back to like the traveling aspect of it, where I was going from place to place, and then I would get to a place where I couldn't go far enough to get there, and now I have to go all the way back, to upgrade my ship and stuff like that. And it just like, and then even upgrading my ship, like there's there's like the upgrade ship part, and then there's the ship builder part, but it doesn't, like outside of like a little title at the bottom, there's really no indication that there's like two different ways to do it. Like I want to upgrade my ship. Why do I have to now go to ship builder to upgrade my ship? Like the whole idea with the helium packs and stuff like that was just like I want to upgrade my ship. If I want to add fuel tanks to it, wouldn't that be upgrading my ship? Why is there like a different part? Right? Why is there like a separate thing where I have to not just upgrade my ship, but now build my upgrade for my upgrade ship part? Like it just doesn't make any sense. Like they make it overtly complicated for no real reason other than like it just doesn't look like they knew what they wanted to do. It feels like there's 4 or 5 different games that they kind of wanted to emulate, and they didn't really know what parts of which would work well together. Like the traveling is very reminiscent of Elite Dangerous, but the fighting when you're in a ship is just not very good. And maybe it's because I would say maybe it's because I just didn't have a very upgraded ship. But even with the new ship that I bought, the Class A ship, like you're still just kind of like looking around trying to like shoot at stuff, like there's really no rhyme or reason to it. You're just kind of like you're just just doing it to do it, you know, like there's no like combat aesthetic behind it. You know, like the guns and stuff were kind of cool, but like again, I never got a chance to really upgrade any of my weapons or my spacesuits or anything like that, because I never seemed to have the right stuff. And even like when I knew I needed these certain things, and I found a workbench that could help me create those certain things, I never seemed to have the right equipment to build the things that I needed to build to then upgrade my other stuff. So it was just like a lot of like useless time spent scavenging things that I ended up not even needing at all. Like it didn't come in handy whatsoever. You know, a lot of the weapons that I found, I tried to end up selling so I could buy stuff, but you know, like again, there's a limit to how much the vendors have that you can get from them. It just like, again, it just seemed like there was like a bunch of different ideas kind of thrown together in a game, and they were hoping that the fact that, you know, it's a Bethesda game and Todd Howard's out there talking about how it's Skyrim and space and everything. It's not Skyrim. Skyrim's great because I can just go to a place, and I was talking about this before, like, you know, this follows more of like the Fallout series, where I have to be a certain level in lockpicking before I can do a level in lockpicking. But that it's not like that in Skyrim. In Skyrim, at level 1, I can just as easily go do a master lockpick without having to be a master lockpick, you know, like I just attempt it. And sure, as I level up lockpicking, it makes it easier to do those things, but it doesn't restrict me from doing it. And in this game, you can't. Like, if you're not a master lockpick, you can't attempt master lockpicks. You know, like, and again, like the weapons were okay, you know, but there's no like VATS in it, so it doesn't really have like an RPG aspect to it. It's more like a first person shooter, third person shooter, like looter shooter type. And it just kind of it just didn't seem to like blend well together, you know, like it just seemed like it was parts of too many different types of games. And I don't know, you know, again, because it's on Game Pass, it was worth playing, in my opinion. If you already pay for Game Pass, I think this is worth playing just to check it out. And it's one of those games that I could see myself, you know, down the road just kind of like picking up and doing other stuff here and there, just to see if it does get any better, you know, if there's like maybe any updates or anything, maybe checking them out. But in the end, it didn't keep me interested enough in this game to not want to play the other stuff that came out before I played this. You know what I mean? And in my opinion, that's the sign of a mediocre game at best. And you know, I don't really have any other proof other than the fact that like I don't see anybody playing this game anymore. You know, like it was hot for a day or two, and then people just kind of stopped playing it. Like I don't hear a whole lot of people talking about it. See anybody talking about it on Instagram, Twitter, you know, that kind of thing. And I just didn't want to like I didn't want to continue playing when I had the option to play other stuff that came out. And so you know, like I would like to give it 1.5 stars, but in realistic, in all honesty, is probably like a 1.25, you know, 1.25 thumbs up. I didn't, it won't be in my top 5. It wasn't in the top 6 for the game of the year. I thought for sure, being, you know, an Xbox game, that this was going to be nominated because they were going to try and get everybody in there, but they didn't. Instead they opted to put in Alan Wake 2, which got really good reviews, but sold like 2 copies. You know, Nintendo actually did very well. They had 2 that I can think of off the top of my head. You got Tears of the Kingdom, you got Super Mario Wonder. So, you know, Nintendo's always killing it. They always kill it. Nintendo's hands down got the best library, and you can only get the Nintendo library on Nintendo. So, you know, that's why they sell so well. In my opinion, in this one, I probably would have rather had a like a New Vegas remaster or a Fallout 3 remaster instead of this. And again, maybe, maybe as time goes by and I kind of like learn the game, but in all honesty, I might never pick this game up again. So that's, I mean, I know it's kind of a weird review, but I wouldn't buy this game. If I didn't have Game Pass, I wouldn't have bought this game. If I didn't have Game Pass now, I wouldn't buy this game after having played it. If you get it for free, maybe you get it for 50, 60, 70% off, maybe it's worth it. Maybe when they come out with some DLC for it, if they do, and it kind of gives the game more fullness. Like, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I went onto a planet and I'm just walking around. I'm not like really discovering anything. And the stuff that I do find, like, again, like I couldn't use it most of the time. Like, it was just stuff that I was picking up for no reason whatsoever. So, the leveling up is kind of unnecessarily complicated because you have these levels, like you have to, weapons, for example. You have like energy weapons, you have laser weapons, you have pistols in the first like tier, and then you have to level up so much in that first tier before you can get to level 2. Like that wasn't a thing before. Like I found a rifle almost right away, but I have to go through all this other stuff first before I can upgrade my rifle usage. Like I just don't understand why they had to do that. They had it fine. They have small guns, big guns, right? Energy weapons, regular weapons. Like I don't. And at any given time, any level 2, I level up. I get a perk increase. I can do small weapons, energy weapons, big weapons. Like I just. I don't understand why they felt the need to overly complicate these things and make them so like detailed. And maybe that was their way to kind of get people to kind of continue playing. Like I feel like I was really, really low level at the end. I was only level 26 and I've got 100 other like side missions that I can do. I don't know if it's actually 100, but it's a ton. There's like at least 20 that I can think of. Or that I could remember off the top of my head. So maybe they did think that by making everything so micromanaged that you would be encouraged to do all the other stuff and really dig deep into it, but it just didn't do it for me. And I feel bad because I mean I wasn't one that was like overly hyping this. I told people, be careful. We haven't heard a whole lot about this, and now all of a sudden it's about to drop. We don't see a whole lot of gameplay. We see a lot of like really cool visuals and stuff. We hear a lot of talk from Todd Howard, but we don't see a lot of like footage. So I was telling people to kind of temper your expectations, and it probably wasn't even as good as I kind of expected it to be. I mean, they worked on this game forever, it seems like. I mean, at least 10, 15 years that I can think of. And so it just kind of, feels like a letdown when they put so much effort into it. Like it looks good, but it looks like a better Fallout 4. Like they continue to use the Unreal or the Unity engine or whatever it is that they had back in like the Fallout 3 era. Fallout 4. Like I don't know. It just seems like we waited a long time for mediocrity. And I hate to say that because again, I am a Bethesda fan. I love Skyrim. I love the Fallout games. Wasn't a huge fan of Fallout 76, but I mean I think that was more because I just don't think Fallout is a multiplayer game, and they did some bad things where they were trying to encourage you to get into, pay for Fallout 1 by giving you, not letting you be on a server, on the same server. So you build all this stuff and then you get merged over into a camp where he's built all this stuff and somebody has already built in your territory. And so now your crap is all like, just in your little box, and you gotta build it somewhere else. And so, I just think I think there's a lot of Bethesda that's not really aimed at making a good game, more so aimed at like trying to convince you to buy the extra stuff, you know, and it's kind of disheartening, you know, like because Bethesda used to be such a great company, and now it just kind of seems like it just doesn't seem like anybody has any real idea of what they want to do, what kind of company they want to be, where they want to go in the future, you know. Like again, it just feels like this game specifically just feels like they played 4 or 5 different games, and you know, they were like, oh, this is kind of cool, oh, this is kind of cool, and then they just threw it into this game to and wished for the best, you know, hope that it, you know, it meshed well, and I just don't think it did. So yeah, just unfortunate, but oh well.